Ilukile ntate. Okay. I think ilukile ntate. Amanda. Viva ANC, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva Sanko, viva. Malibongwe. Malibongwe. Roar, young lions, roar. Roar, young lions, roar. Akileboe datese machinini modula stulo wa province le comrade William Bulwana, deputy chair, le comrade Paseka Nombondo, provincial secretary, le major wa rona le ketapele kaofela e teng mona ya alliance le ditho tsa PEC le RTT tse teng le rona ka tshepelena ke lebohe le veterans makala organization ya teng mona ka sheko the January 8th statement of the African National Congress National Executive Committee identifies Comrade Raymond Mhlaba, Rusty Bernstein, and Harry Gwala as leaders who, were they alive, would be celebrating their 100th or centennial birthdays this year. And that is why 2020 marks the centenary of the birth of one of the most outstanding, committed and consistent revolutionaries in the struggle for freedom in South Africa, Raymond Mhlaba. The life of Comrade Raymond Mhlaba is one of long, tireless, and unwavering struggle that left an indelible and enduring legacy in the annals of the liberation movement in this country. Born on the 20th of February 1920 in Mazoka village in Fort Beaufort district, Raymond Mhlaba was first a member of the Communist Party of South Africa and then later a member of the African National Congress throughout his adult life. Like Comrade Moses Kotane, Raymond Mhlaba joined the trade union movement first, which led him to the Communist Party of South Africa, and of course later to the African National Congress. His nurturing and caring character earned him the name, so we will refer to him as Omre. He attended his secondary schooling at Hilltown, but due to financial constraint, he was unable to reach matric and complete his studies. Raymond Mhlaba started his long and enduring political life tentatively while at Hilton Secondary School. One of his teachers, Mr. C. Gela, had explained to his class that the Land Act, the Natives Land Act of 1913, was used to take away the land from the African people. And of course, because they were students, they then formed an organization as students, which they called Maibuye Students Association. These youngsters who were beginning what for Raymond Mhlaba was to be a lifelong vocation used the student organization to organize their communities to be concerned with the land question. We are still preoccupied with the land question up to this day. They strove to arouse among the people the necessary political consciousness that would help in the struggle to return their land. The organization, which met at various places, including at Fort Hare University and Lovedale College, used every opportunity to organize both young and old members of their communities. Although the student organization did not last long, it had planted in the mind and heart of the young Raymond Mhlaba the initial seeds of political awareness that were to germinate and become strong and formidable in later years. When Ombre started work in Port Elizabeth at a dry cleaning firm, he was recruited into the trade union by colored women. They recruited him into the non-European Laundry Workers Union. And it was this experience of being recruited by colored women which planted into Ombre the abiding consciousness of both non-sexism and non-racialism. In 1942, Ombre became very active in the trade union movement, especially in the Council of Non-European Trade Unions. As he became more involved in the trade union movement, he learned more about the previous struggles of workers and the power of collective bargaining. The work of Raymond Mhlaba and other trade unionists made Port Elizabeth to be one of the most well-organized areas in South Africa at that time. It was during this time that he met Professor Jack Simons and Comrade Ray Alexander, and then a lifelong comradeship developed. In 1943, he met and married his first wife, Joyce Meke, and in their 17 years together, they were blessed with 3 children, Ubukeka, Nomalungelo, Nojobincha. Before the state of emergency in 1960, Omre's wife, Mhlaba, unfortunately died in a car accident. This was a devastating blow to both his young children. Fortunately for him, his sisters decided to take care of the young children while he continued with the struggle for freedom. Once the ANC Youth League was formed in 1944, Raymond Mhlaba became active in this organization of the youth, as well as the Communist Party of South Africa, which he had joined a year earlier. Ombre was a political prisoner on Robben Island since 1964 and was transferred to Portsmouth in 1986, where he received special permission to marry his second wife, Aunt Dixie Dideka Heliso. They were blessed with 3 children, Umlilo, Nomawetu, Nonikiwe. He was fully involved in the discussions and inputs that brought about the 1949 program of action of the Youth League. During this time, he led an active political life. He conducted political lessons for all the bodies to which he belonged. He fully anticipated that the struggle would be taxing and demanding on his time. Throughout his active participation, Raymond Mhlaba personified the unity in action that bound the different structures that were fighting for liberation. Together with some of his comrades, They demonstrated that the struggle for freedom could not be subdivided or compartmentalized. During this time, Omre did not use any of the constituent parts of the Congress alliance for personal gain or factional tendencies. He never distinguished his political work between the ANC, the Communist Party of South Africa, as well as that of organizing workers into trade unions. Neither was there any distinction between the work he did as a worker, an organizer on local issues, and the freedom fighter for his country. At the same time, there was no difference between the private and political life, because, comrades, you can't be an embodiment of your organization if the only time you conduct yourself respectfully is when you are in a meeting. And as soon as you leave the meeting, you are in a bus queue or at the taxi rank or anywhere else or at the stadium, you then behave as though you don't represent an organization. People who know you to be a member of your organization will not say, is this spectator Zebolo is the behavior Molosho. They will say that's ANC members, but behavior Molosho. That is why it is important to always be conscious and alive to the responsibility you carry, because the ANC has no life outside your own life. It is through you that the ANC exists and relates to communities. This was particularly so when employers started targeting him and he had to lose some of his jobs. But he soldiered on, arguing that he was married to the struggle for emancipation. The unrelenting struggles in Port Elizabeth were further boosted by the presence of many formidable women. These women were...
All right, so that's the former president of South Africa, Kgalema Motlanthe, former deputy president of the ANC, delivering the Raymond Mhlaba Memorial Lecture. And he's doing that in the Free State. And of course, Raymond Mhlaba was an anti-apartheid activist and struggle icon of the ANC and of South Africa, and the first premier of the Eastern Cape, and spent 25 years in jail. He was sentenced alongside Nelson Mandela, Govan Mbeki, Walter Sisulu and others at the Rivonia trial. And he's remembered through this memorial lecture being delivered now by the former president of South Africa, Kgalema Motlanthe. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have your headlines right here on SA Today. Stay with us.